Welcome, tech enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into the world of virtual machines to install Ubuntu 24 LTS on VirtualBox in Windows 11. This powerful combination will let you explore Linux while keeping your Windows system exactly as it is. Let's jump right in and get everything set up. Our journey begins with downloading and installing VirtualBox. Fire up your preferred browser and in the search bar, type VirtualBox and hit enter. Look for the top result that leads to virtualbox.org. That's our target. Once you're on the VirtualBox website, you'll spot a blue download button calling your name. Give that a confident click, and you'll find yourself on the Downloads page where VirtualBox offers versions for different operating systems. Since we're running Windows, we'll select the Windows version. Click on that link and choose where you want to save the installation file. Your Downloads folder is usually a safe bet. Now, let's locate that installer file we just downloaded. Double-click it to launch the VirtualBox installer wizard. The wizard will guide us through the installation process step by step. Click Next to begin the installation journey. You'll be presented with the license agreement. Take a moment to familiarize yourself with it if you'd like, then select I accept and click Next to proceed. The next screen shows you various features you can toggle on or off. For most users, the default selections work perfectly fine. So unless you have specific requirements, go ahead and click Next. Now, here's something important. VirtualBox will warn you that installing its networking feature will temporarily disconnect your internet connection. Don't worry, this is completely normal and only lasts a few seconds. Click Yes when you're ready to proceed. You'll see another notification about missing Python-related dependencies. This is for advanced scripting features in VirtualBox, but don't worry, it won't affect our Ubuntu installation or basic virtual machine usage at all. Click Yes to continue. Next up is configuring shortcuts and file associations. Again, the default settings here are suitable for most users, so click Next to proceed. We've reached the final confirmation screen. If you're ready to begin the installation, click Install and let VirtualBox work its magic. This is a relatively quick process. When the installation completes, you'll see a final screen with a checkbox to launch VirtualBox. Leave this checked. We want to jump right into setting up our Ubuntu system. Click Finish and VirtualBox will spring to life. Perfect. We've got VirtualBox installed and running. Now we need to get our hands on the Ubuntu installation image, which will be our next step. Head back to your browser and in the search bar type download Ubuntu and press enter. Look for the first result that leads to ubuntu.com. That's where we'll find what we need. Once you're on Ubuntu's download page, you'll see a green download button waiting for you. Click on it and you'll be redirected to the next page. Don't worry about doing anything on this page. Just wait for the download save window to pop up and choose where you want to save the file. Keep in mind this is a substantial download, about 5.8 gigabytes, so it might take a while depending on your internet speed. Now, let's head back to VirtualBox with our Ubuntu image in our pocket. It's time to set up our virtual machine. Look for the New button and give it a click. This is where we'll create our virtual Ubuntu system. In the first window that appears, you'll see a name field. Let's call our virtual machine Ubuntu. This will make it easy to identify later. Below that is the installation folder location. Unless you have specific storage requirements, the default location works just fine, so click Next. For the ISO image, we need to locate and select the Ubuntu file we just downloaded. Click the folder icon and navigate to where you saved it. At the bottom of this window, you'll notice a checkbox that says, Skip the unattended installation. This option determines whether VirtualBox automates the OS setup or lets you do it manually. For this tutorial, we'll check this box to do a manual setup. It gives us more control over the process. Next up is configuring our virtual machine's hardware. This is where we decide how much of our computer's resources to dedicate to Ubuntu. For a smooth experience, you'll want to allocate at least 2 gigabytes of RAM and 2 CPU cores. I'm going to be a bit more generous and give it 4 gigabytes of RAM and 4 CPUs. Just make sure you're leaving enough resources for your Windows system to run comfortably. You'll also see an option to enable EFI. We can leave this unchecked since Ubuntu typically doesn't need it unless you have specific requirements. Click Next and we'll move on to setting up our virtual hard disk. You'll see 3 options: creating a new disk using an existing one or skipping disk creation entirely. For our purposes, select Create a Virtual Hard Disk Now. A good starting size is at least 25 gigabytes. This gives Ubuntu plenty of room to breathe. After clicking Next, you'll see a summary of all your choices. Take a moment to review everything. If it all looks good, click Finish, and VirtualBox will create your virtual machine. Now, take a look at the left side panel. This is where you'll find all your virtual machines. When you select one, you'll see its hardware allocation details on the right. Want to make changes to these settings? Just click the Settings icon, and you can adjust everything from memory allocation to network settings to match your specific needs. With our virtual machine all set up, it's time to start the installation process. Look for the Start button at the top of VirtualBox and click it to launch our Ubuntu VM. As the initial installation screen appears, appears, you'll need to click inside the frame to begin interacting with the virtual machine. You'll see a message explaining that this action will capture your mouse and keyboard, making them work exclusively within the virtual machine. Don't worry, you can always press the host key, that's Right Ctrl by default, to release control back to your Windows system. Click Capture to proceed. Now you can navigate through the options using your arrow keys, or simply press Enter to start the Ubuntu installation. The system will take a moment to boot up. This is normal, just give it a bit of time. Remember earlier when we checked the box to skip the unattended installation? If we hadn't done that, the system would have automated most of what we're about to do. But it's good practice to go through this process manually at least once to understand how everything works. First up is language selection. You'll see a list of available languages for your Ubuntu installation. Scroll through the list and select your language. Once you've selected it, click Next to continue. Now we're at the accessibility options screen. Ubuntu provides a range of settings to customize your experience based on specific needs. You can adjust settings for seeing, hearing, typing, pointing and clicking, or zooming. Don't feel pressured to configure these now. You can always access these options later through system settings. When you're ready, click Next. The next screen is for selecting your keyboard layout. If you're not sure which layout your keyboard uses, there's a handy Detect button that can help figure it out. Choose the appropriate layout for your keyboard, then click Next to move forward. Now you'll need to choose how you want to connect to the internet during installation. Since you're in a virtual machine, Wi-Fi isn't available, but you can select Use Wired Connection. If you prefer, you can also choose Do Not Connect to the internet to skip this step entirely. Make your selection and click Next. We've reached an important decision point. Ubuntu asks whether you want to install it or just try it out. Select Install Ubuntu if you're ready to proceed with the full installation. If you'd prefer to explore Ubuntu without making any permanent changes, choose Try Ubuntu instead. Once you've made your choice, click Next to continue. Next up, Ubuntu asks how you'd like to handle the installation process. You've got two options here: interactive installation or automated installation. The interactive option walks you through each step of the process, making it perfect for first-time users. The automated option is more for advanced users who have a pre-configured auto-install YAML file for consistent setups. If you're not sure which to choose, go with interactive installation. It's the most straightforward approach. Once you've made your choice, click Next. Now we need to decide which applications to include in our installation. Ubuntu offers two main choices: a default selection that comes with just the essentials like a web browser and basic utilities, or an extended selection that adds office tools and additional utilities for offline use. If you're just getting started, the default option will work fine. Make your selection and click Next. The next screen asks about installing additional software for better hardware support and media compatibility. You'll see two options here: one for drivers that handle graphics and Wi-Fi, and another for support of common media formats like MP3 and MP4. Once you've made your choices, click Next. Now we need to decide how to set up the disk for Ubuntu. The first option will erase the disk and give us a clean Ubuntu installation from scratch. The second option lets you manually configure the disk layout. That's more for advanced users who need a custom setup. For our purposes, let's choose the first option for a straightforward installation. Click Next when you're ready. It's time to create your account in Ubuntu. Type in your name, create a password, and confirm it in the fields provided. You'll notice an option to require the password at login. Uncheck this if you prefer automatic login. If you're in an environment that uses Active Directory, you can enable that option here too. Once you've filled everything out, click Next. The next step is setting your time zone. You can do this in two ways: either click directly on the map to select your location, or use the detected location and time zone if it's already correct. This helps ensure your system clock stays accurate for your region. When your time zone is properly set, click Next. We've reached the final review screen. Take a moment to look over all your installation choices. If everything looks good, click Install to begin the installation process. This will take a while. Feel free to grab a snack or a soda while Ubuntu does its thing. Once the installation completes, you'll see a Restart Now button. Click that to reboot your system. When prompted, just press Enter to continue and wait while Ubuntu boots up for the first time. We're in the final stretch now. Just a few more configurations to get through. First up is Ubuntu Pro, which offers extended security updates and compliance tools. It's free for up to 5 personal machines, but requires a paid subscription for enterprise use. If you don't need these features right now, you can simply select Skip for now and click Next to continue. Next, Ubuntu asks if you'd like to contribute to its improvement by sharing system data. This includes information about your hardware, installed software, and time zone. It's entirely optional. You can choose to share or opt out without affecting how your system works. Make your choice and click Next. Now you'll see an introduction to the App Center, which is your gateway to installing all sorts of additional software. You can skip this for now and explore it later when you need it. Click Finish to complete the setup. And there we are. Ubuntu greets us with its majestic crown background. But before we start exploring, let's make a quick adjustment to the display settings. Click on the launcher and navigate to Settings. Then click Displays in the side panel. Here we can change the resolution to better suit our needs. I'm going to select Full HD and click Apply. You'll notice that after changing to this resolution, scroll bars appear around the screen. This means we need to toggle full screen mode to properly use the virtual machine at full HD resolution. To enable full screen mode, you'll need to press two keys together. The host key, which is Right Ctrl, as shown in the bottom right corner, and F. So that's Right Ctrl F. Press these together, and now everything looks much better. From this point on, you have the keys to reign here as you wish. And there you have it. You've successfully installed Ubuntu on VirtualBox in Windows 11. Now you're ready to explore Ubuntu and all it has to offer. If you found this tutorial helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tech tips and tricks. Until next time, happy computing.